Hi everyone, welcome to the final episode of today for TMC, the Mainframe community.
Yeah.
So
Please.
Armin, would you like to tell the audience a bit about yourself?
Yes, of course. So I'm Armin. I'm 55 years old. I'm at the Mainframe for about more than 30 years, more than 35 years, and I really like the Mainframe, all the stuff around it, the community around it. I really enjoy being there, and I really enjoy meeting you.
Yeah, we met only last month, didn't we?
Yes,
Yeah,
in Amsterdam. We met
That's
the
it.
first time, yeah.
Yeah. So that was my second time in Amsterdam. This is my first time in America. But you have traveled much more than I have, right?
Yes, it was the first time in Amsterdam.
Okay.
But I guess currently it's the, let's say, perhaps 8th or something time in America.
Okay.
The first time was, I really remember it was 2017 in Las Vegas. It was the Interconnect. So it was a really huge conference, and it was really the first time. And I had a small slot for presenting some COBOL stuff with an IBM fellow, and I was really afraid of talking English because my English is from the school, so about 30 years ago, and I was bibbering, and so, but it kind of worked.
Kind of. I mean, your English is better than people from the UK. You know, I know British people who, they're terrible. So you've been in this space for quite some time. You've been in this wider community for quite some time.
Yeah.
But what would you say the word community means to you?
Community are a lot of people that are working together to reach some kind of a goal. So to make it easier, to help each other, to be there if someone has a problem, a question, and to really achieve something together. That's all about the community.
Achievement and kind of cooperation.
Yeah.
And have you got maybe a little anecdote of a time which kind of illustrates that? You know, has there been a time which has embodied that cooperation?
Yes, of course. I'm really part of a lot of communities.
Mm-hmm.
I have been part of a lot of communities because as I'm quite old, so I started playing sports. I started to be in a sports club with, I guess, 12 or something like this. I played table tennis now for about 40 years, 45 years, and it's always a kind of a community. You play for a team, just you play for your own, but you are part of a team.
Yep.
And the fun fact is, starting at the computer with 12 or something like this. So I was in the community with 15 of some kind of cracker and hacker. So it was quite interesting, and that's what led me to the computer business. That because I really appreciated to work with computer. I like to work with computer. I like to work. There was even so a magazine to just type lots of code in the computer. So it was really the start of my career.
So you've sort of taken maybe some of your cooperation from table tennis, and you've applied that for kind of breaking a system, right? For cracking into.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So and is table tennis? You still do that quite regularly?
Yeah. I still play in a team, and I played for different teams. I still play in a team every week, at least every week. I train every week and play every week. So I play twice a week, and yes, I still like it. And to be honest, table tennis is a little bit complicated because it's a kind of a sport you play in a team, but you play for your own. So table tennis players are kind of strange. If you're at the table, they are very difficult, and so am I. But after the match, I'm the kindest person.
Well, I won't say I've ever seen you play table tennis, but you are the kindest person, you know, outside, so I can attest to that.
Thank you.
So has there been any sort of symmetry, any learnings from your time playing table tennis that you've been able to apply to your professional career? So maybe it was, you know, you had to change the way you thought about something, or you had to maybe be more patient, more resilient.
Yeah, that's I guess the point. If you're doing sports in a kind of higher level, it's not so the table tennis sports outside. It's so in a team, in a league, and so you got to learn to be calm, to concentrate, and to rely on the team because you are indeed a team. Mm-hmm. But you play on your own, and so you got to get to the point. Even especially if it's, for example, table tennis 10 all. and it's the next point decides. And
Yeah.
so you got to concentrate, be calm, and think about the next point. And so you work in a team if you're in a community, but at least you still are working on your own, on your goals, with the help of the other.
It's funny, isn't it? You have some jobs where it's all about speed, it's all about efficiency. You know, how quickly can you know, Formula One pit stops, how quickly can they get the car sorted? Amazon warehouses, how quickly can you package the products and send them out? But that isn't necessarily what a mainframe job looks like. You know, yes, we like having speed and efficiency, but we need to do it right, because there's consequences if we don't.
Yeah. That's very important. Everything has to work. There's no chance to test it in production. So it has to work, because if it doesn't work, a lot of money is gone. Could be gone.
That's it. So it's sort of a, you know, check and check again. Because you like you say, you only get one chance to implement something, and it may break or you know, cause big issues.
And so that's why I'm a fan of modernization and automation and all of this stuff, because it helps you to make all the systems, even at the mainframe, stable.
Yeah. So have there been any challenges? You know, you talk about with sort of patience, you know, you've got to be focused when you play table tennis. Has there been any challenges maybe in your time playing table tennis that have been similar, sort of maybe coincidentally similar on the mainframe? So maybe you talked about sort of that focus, but has there been anything else that you found is a common factor?
It's really funny when you are talking about that. I remember, because especially table tennis, it's a sport you can play with any age.
Yes.
So it's like the mainframe. You can work at the mainframe at any age. There are experienced ones and there are younger ones, and you have to work together. And so everybody has a different style to work and even to play.
Yeah.
And so it is really interesting, because at the mainframe, there are younger and experienced people working together, and at the table tennis, in the teams, there are also, I'm playing with 20-year-old guys, with 15-year-old guys, and I'm playing with 70-year-old, 80-year-olds. And so they are all different, as they are different in a mainframe team.
I think it's a really valid point, isn't it? That you and I are not the same age, you know, me and even the people from Mainframe Society, we're all different ages, but we have to be willing to respect one another and understand that we all have strengths and weaknesses and we can contribute differently, right?
Yeah, of course, yes.
Brilliant.
And that's really something that I like at the mainframe communities. That's something you won't find in other communities, in other IT communities, because they are quite young compared to the mainframe. So we have a lot of experienced people, and so it is so fun to work together.
I totally agree. And I think that's what's so special, right? You know, you and I met at a security summit and I was one of the younger people there, but I was driven. I would ask questions, I would discuss afterwards. And there's so much to be learned from people older, but also maybe ideas that are challenged by someone younger. You know, I always say the best question a new mainframer can ask is, why do we do that? Why do we do it that way? Why have we never done it that way differently before?
And I really like to work with people of different age, of all of the age, because everybody has another mindset.
Yeah.
And so we got to mix those mindsets to get the best out of it.
I think you're right. You know, that's the power of the kind of diversity. You know, I've challenged my perceptions before. Maybe I've been quite privileged. I know people who've had less wealth in their youth than I have had, and so I've rethought about kind of what is normal, what is to be expected. And it's the same in technology. You know, we take for granted that we can type. You know, there's some people who maybe need audio input. You know, they need to be able to have a microphone.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's all these things that I think diversity helps us, because it means that everyone can start to contribute. The boundaries are broken, you know, the barriers are crumbling.
Of course, that's very important,
So does that maybe tie into the last question? Would you have a call to arms, like a petition to our audience? You would say, you know, the viewers should think about something differently, should be willing to challenge this idea, or you should be more open about something?
I got the most important point. What I also figured out in the last year when dealing with modernization is really to be open-minded.
Okay.
Really to work together, and the best results always were when the experience and the young people work together to benefit from each other. So it was the best with migrating to Git when Dativ migrated to Git. So the young people from the university knew how to work with Git. The experienced people knew how to work with the system. And so they worked together and everything was perfect. It was quite smooth.
I think it's so true though. Being open-minded is a prerequisite to having a successful career.
Yeah.
There's so many people here who are, well regarded and are doing incredibly well, incredibly, influential, incredibly, and if they've contributed into different projects, but they've only done that because they are willing and able to challenge themselves, to stay humble, stay open-minded.
Yeah,
the people who are can't think outside the box, who are closed-minded, they always struggle. This is an industry that constantly innovates. We have the most kind of modern, innovative sort of computer system in the world.
Yeah,
but
that's true. Yeah.
You can't think the way we did 60 years ago.
No. And that's really the benefit of this conference here, because everyone here is open-minded. So here are the people that are open-minded and they want to learn, they want to work together, they want to talk, they want to network. So it's really great. Yeah,
I totally agree. And do you know what? This has been a pleasure. I know we saw each other at the last conference, but it's great to finally have time for a proper, an interview, a proper one-on-one chat. And honestly, I thank you for your time. I thank you for all your contributions with Cruz and with Mighty Mainframe. And honestly, I say the pleasure's been all mine having you here. So thank you.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.